So hello everyone, welcome to our Milwaukee County Zoo virtual presentation presented by St. Thomas More High School. Today with us we have Sarah.
Hello.
And we have Audrey.
Hello everybody.
And then we have myself, Isabel. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. So as you can see here, we have the original site plan and the current design. The original site plan reflects the Milwaukee County Zoo without any changes, without any kind of sort of tweaks that we made, just kind of so you can see where they were and what we've changed to make it better. So as you can see, there a lot of the major components are in the same location as the previous design, but there are some changes. One of them is the coal bin, and the coal bin is actually 11 by 11, so it's bigger than the previous coal bin. And this is so that when the bobcat comes in to load in the coal, that they have more room and there's no spillage. As for the sifter, it used to be on the left side of the coal bin, but we moved it over to the right side so that we can make the process a lot easier. And then a little behind that, you can see we have the ash fines bin. Previously, there was no bin at all. It was just piled against the retaining wall. But by creating this bin that we made here, it's made it a lot more easier for organization, and it's just a lot cleaner of a process. And we have a fence here, and it's pushed back for public safety, but there's still a corner, so if children want to go in, they can definitely look over and see the process. Lastly, we also have a rain garden. So you can't see it in this image, but the coal bin and the ash vines bin are angled. So for stormwater runoff, we will have a grate right in front, and the rain will go right into the garden, and any excess rain not needed for the garden just goes right over the hill. So as you can see here, we have a 5-6 eye level view of the rain garden. Obviously, this is not going to be our rain garden, but this is just an example if you are looking what you might see, and then you have the hill, of course.
As you can see on the site plan, we extended the patio out both to the left for the public and also down towards the train tracks for the operators so they can have steady footing while they work. Also, if you wanted to watch the process in the original site, you would have to stand in this general area, leaving this area up here unused by the public. So it wouldn't be used unless you wanted to see the failing retaining wall or the pile of waste off in that corner, or over on the other side you were watching people in line, which nobody really does. So it would be unused. In our current design makes it so that wherever you stand, there's something to look at, whether it's the train leaving, the rain garden, the coal bin, the ash fines bin, the coal handling process itself, or even the water tower.
While redesigning the site, we wanted to make an easier process for the train operators. As seen in the original site, the workers had to take the coal from the coal bin, sift it, put the fines next to the retaining wall, and walk all the way back with the buckets. Now the process is much more compact, as the workers can grab coal, sift the coal, stack buckets, and put fines away in a small area. By not carrying coal as far, this reduces the amount of stress placed on the train operators. Loading the coal bin is the same as before, but now the bobcat can drive over the patio instead of the unpaved ground. Emptying the fines and ash is also the same. You would be able to shovel out the ash and fines into the bobcat.
So here we have the coal bin, and one thing that we learned from the December design review is to simplify our design. So as you can see in the December design, there's flaps, there's moving parts. We just simplified that, and it's all one structure. So we actually also, on top of that, we flipped it 180 degrees. So the higher side faces the train operators, so it's a lot easier for them to access the coal. Lastly, we switched the material from brick to treated wood, and this is easier to maintain and change if needed. For example, if you wanted to add tools to just hang on the side of the coal bin, since it's treated wood, you can just add some hooks, and it'll be quite easy to make that change. In addition, as you can see here, we also have a plexiglass window. This is just great for viewers as they can see the train operators work. And then as for the tarp cover, it's simple to maintain and replace if need be. The tarp cover is pulled taut so that the rainwater can go right down, and it's flexible in cases of overfilling for the coal. So if there's a little too much coal, as it is a tarp and not a solid garage cover, it's easy to bend and it moves with the coal. It also protects the coal from rain, and it directs the water away from the opening, which is really important to prevent acid buildup so that the coal does not rot.
The Sifter design has remained the same as the December design review. The top portion of the sifter is able to be lifted up, which causes the larger lumps of coal to be poured into a bucket in front of the sifter, while the fines fall into a bucket placed under the sifter. We had tested the sifter with a physical prototype seen in the picture on the right, along with some of our testing data on the bottom. We first tested it by standing in a set position to operate it, but we then discovered that if you stepped backwards or stood to the side while holding the handle, you don't have to bend your back at all. This keeps the amount of stress the same as before, since the original sifter, the train operators didn't have to bend their backs. This design is optional as any sifter would fit in with the site. We just wanted to give train operators options for picking the sifter that works best for them.
Moving on to the ash fines bin. As you can tell from the images, we completely redesigned the bin. We did this mainly because the wall of the bin was very high and no one could see past it. So our current design is much shorter and the public can actually see over the top. We also flipped the bin 180 degrees, similar to the coal bin, for the same reasons, and also switched out the brick for composite wood just like the coal bin for the same reasons. We made some renderings using Revit to visualize what people of different heights would see when standing in front of the ash fines bin. We really wanted to make sure that the public's view was not obstructed in any way in our new design. So looking at the images, we found that adults between the 10th and 90th percentile for height can see over the ash fines bin and observe the coal handling process. The image on the left is what an average American woman would see, and the image on the right is what an average American man would see. And of course, a lot of children go to the zoo, so we made sure that they could see the process as well. So they can still view the process over the ash fines bin, but the view is somewhat limited, but they can also get a better view by standing to the left of the ash fines bin and actually get a much better view. The changes to the ash fine bin changes the waste removal process as well. So the operator uses the sifter and the fines eventually build up underneath it. In the previous design from December, the operator would toss the ash fines over a wall and into a bin. But in the new design, there's an opening towards the track so that the coal fines can be easily swept into the bin using a broom. The ash from the train can be removed from the grate by the tracks and put into the bin, in much the same way as the original design, except the ash fines bin is much closer to the grate than the retaining wall where the ash used to be stored. To remove the ash fines from the bin, the top panel can be removed and then the contents can be shoveled into the bobcat loader like with the original removal process.
As for here, the top covering, there will be an informational poster for public view, and because it's angled, it's easier to read. Here you can see an example poster. The first section focuses more on the functions of the train, how it works, etc. And the second section focuses on the train rotation through the depot, the process of loading coal into the train, and more. As you can see, this is just an example poster if we were to put an informational poster on it, and this is definitely not the final design for the poster.
Along with the process, we did some research with reducing and reusing the waste. A Vulcan thermal desorption unit would be used to remove the contaminants from the waste. We liked this idea from the Menominee Falls group back in the December design review, which was to use the treated coal ash in the creation of plastic figurines at the zoo. Another option would be the waste could be sent to a recycling center for the creation of concrete.
Alright, this is our cost estimate for the materials needed for the design. We have not included any of the labor or actual construction costs, so it's just the materials. So keep in mind that these are just estimates based on our limited knowledge. So we have the budget split into the different components like the site, the coal bin, the ash fines bin, and the sifter. So altogether, the grand total with the sifter came to be roughly $5,800. Without the sifter included, it was roughly $5,750.
So thank you all so much for watching this presentation. We hope you guys have a great day. Please remember to take the survey that we attached with this video, and if you have any other questions, please feel free to email us. Have a great day, everyone.